Welcome in the class of the course Water Resource Engineering. We are learning reservoirs. In earlier lecture, we have seen the yield capacity of the reservoir and the methods of calculations are going on. So, in today's lecture, we will continue with the same. I am Mr. S.S. Sugule, Assistant Professor, Civil Engineering Department. Now, the mass inflow curve. It is a plot of accumulated flow in a stream against time. So after the flow hydrographs for the stream at a dam site have been plotted for a large number of years, say 25 to 30 years, the required storage capacity for a reservoir with given outflow pattern can be approximately calculated with the help of mass curve. A hydrograph is a plot of discharge versus time, while a mass curve is a plot of accumulated flow versus time. The flow under will hydrograph between times t equals to 0 and t equals to d will be represent nothing but the accumulated flow up to time t. Hence, the ordinate of the mass curve at time t. A typical annual inflow hydrograph is shown in this figure, that is this one, and the mass curve of the inflow hydrograph is plotted in the this figure. So here you can see this particular this discharge flow rate, and this is the mass inflow rate. So it is the summation of all these things. So it is again the time, and this is also time. This is the mass inflow and this is the discharge rate inflow. So as you can see over here, this area A1 up to time t, that is this is 0 and this is t. So it is the area A1, that is up to time t, equals to ordinate of the mass curve at time t. So this is the time t over here, and this is the that a1, that is area of this particular under this curve. So as we are going to progress, so all the data has been going to added. So this never comes downward in downward direction, it always growing up. The area under the first curve up to time t is equal to the ordinate of second curve at the same time t. Adjustment for the scales and units of two curves must be made while plotting. It is evident that mass curve will continuously rise as it is the plot of the accumulated inflow. Period of no inflow will be represented by the horizontal line of the mass inflow curve. To differentiate such mass curve of runoff from the mass curve of rainfall, the mass curve is usually called as the flow mass curve and the integral of the flow hydrograph. The mass curve may also be called the ripple diagram, and the flow of the mass curve at any time is measure of the inflow rate at a time. After the inflow mass curve has been plotted, the mass curve of demand may also be plotted by accumulating the required outflow. If constant rate of withdrawal is required for the reservoir, the mass curve of demand will be straight line having the slope equal to the demand rate. So as you can see, we will move to the next slide. Demand curves or demand lines are generally straight lines, that is representing the uniform withdrawal, although in practice they may curve also, that is it is like this. If the rate of demand is constant, so this is the demand line, or this will be the demand line, this is mass outflow, and if there is a fluctuation, so it may be in part time shape of the curve. So it is mass demand curve, nothing but the it is a plot of accumulated demand versus or with the time. Now the determining reservoir capacity for a given demand. The mass curve of inflow and the demand line can be used to determine the required storage capacity. So in this figure, it is evident that the demand line draws tangent to the high points, that is A1, A2, A3, that is this A1, A2 and A3 of the mass curve represents the rate of withdrawal from the reservoir. Assuming the reservoir is full, whenever the demand line intersects the mass curve, that is this f1, f2, etc., and the maximum departure, that is bc1 and bc2 between the two curve represents the reservoir capacity just required to satisfy the demand. So above figure has been drawn for a demand of a 2000 hectare meters per year. The biggest departure ordinates, that is B1C1, that is this B1C1 and B2C2, worked out to be 1950 hectares meter per year, which represents the required storage capacity for the reservoir. The vertical distance between successive tangents, that is A1B1 and A2B2, this A1B1 and this A2B2, etc., represent the water wasted over the spillway. The spillway have sufficient capacity to discharge this fluid volume. So this figure, the spillway capacity works out to be 600 hectare meter and reservoir capacity as 1950 hectare meters. It can be also observed that assuming the reservoir is to be full at A1, this is full at A1, it is depleted to 1950 minus 1500, that is 450 hectometer at C1. So it is depleted, and again full at F1. So this is again full. So this is representing where the water is not coming into particular this, because this is the mass inflow curve. First water rises up to this level, that is here reservoir is full, then less water is coming into particular this area. So and this is the demand line. So here you can see we are using the water from the available water, and again this here reservoir is full. So again water spilled way, this is, you can see over here, water spilled, that is 500 hectometers. Again it is full at this level, again the same curve repeats. The reservoir is full between F1 and A2. So here you can see F1 and A2, it is full, and quantity of water spilled over the spillway is equal to 600 hectometers. From A2, the water starts reducing in the reservoir till it becomes fully empty at C2. So again it is discharged, that is it is fully empty up to C2, and water again starts collecting in the reservoir at, it is again full at F2. Here you can see it is full at F2. So here you can see the maximum ordinate, that is 1950. So here it is completely empty, and here some part of it has been there. So note two things over here. It may be also noted that demand line when extended must intersect the mass curve. If it does not, reservoir will not refill. Here you can see this must intersect, otherwise it will not full. Here also it is intersecting. It cannot be above the particular this inflow curve. This is demand line, this should not be above. And when demand line is not straight line, then two mass curves are superimposed on each other in such a way that their origin and axis coincide. The larger ordinate between two gives the reservoir required storage capacity. So this is the thing. So here you can see when the demand curve is not straight line, when the two mass curves are superimposed on each other, here you can see this is the superimposing, this is mass curve of inflow and this is the demand. So here you can see the reservoir capacity, that is this maximum ordinate. Now the fixing the demand for reservoir of a given capacity. In this previous article we have explained how reservoir capacity has been determined for a demand line. In the reverse, That is fixing the demand line for the given reservoir capacity. It may also be done with the help of mass curve inflow. In this case, the tangent are drawn high points, that is A1, A2. The mass inflow curve in such a way that the maximum departure from the mass curve equals to the reservoir capacity. The slope of the lines drawn represents the demand rate on which can be obtained with this capacity during different periods. The minimum value of these slopes will represent the withdrawal rate, which can certainly be obtained from the given reservoir and will thus represent the its Fermi, that is safe field. So this is all for this today's lecture. In coming lecture, we are going to see the sedimentation as well as the what are the ideal sites can be for the particularly reservoirs. So thank you. So we will see determination of safe field capacity as we have discussed earlier from the given capacity. So prepare the mass inflow curve. Draw a straight line from a common origin representing the demand at various rates, say ranging from 0 to 5000 hectare per meter per year. From the epices A1, A2, A3, etc. and of the mass curve, draw tangents such a way that their maximum departure from the mass curve does not exceed the specified reservoir capacity. So here you can see these tangents has been drawn. Thus, in figure, the ordinates E1, D1, E2, D2, E3, D3, that is E1, D1, E2, D2, and E3, D3 are all are equal to the reservoir capacity, say 1500 hectare meter. Measure the slope of these tangents. Likewise, these tangents, the slope indicates the yield which can be attained on in each year from the reservoir of a given capacity. So always there are calculations are there at what rate the water should be withdrawn from the particular dams, etc., as per the calculations. So all these curves are helping to decide these demands. So here in this case we know the capacity and we are deciding the demand like this way. So we are determining the yield from the reservoir of specific capacity. What are the investigation we need to carry it out while designing or the going for the reservoir? So investigations are engineering survey, geological investigation, and hydrological investigations. So the engineering surveys. So these are conducted for the dam, reservoir, and other associated works. Topographic survey of this area is carried out, and then the contour plan has been prepared. The horizontal control is usually provided by the triangulation survey, and the vertical control is provided by the precise leveling. So leveling and triangulation has been required for the particular this engineering survey, which is basically related with the surveying that we have learned in the earlier semesters. Then the geological investigation. The geological investigation of the dam and the reservoir site are done for the following purposes. So, for the suitability of foundation for the dam, water tightness of the reservoir basin, and location of the quarry sites for the construction of material. So, basically, we required the strong foundation for the gravity dams like structures. So we need to check whether that plateau or that area, whether it is capable to handle that capacity or weight of that dam, or it will tend to sink. So that we need to verify. Then water tightness. Suppose we are storing the water, but somehow with the seepage or pervious layer it is going out, then it is a failure of the dam. So for that, water tightness should be checked for the reservoir basin. And for the construction of all these things, we need a quarry site nearby. So that also things should be investigated while geological investigation. Now the hydrological investigation. Basically, these are related with the water. So this is for the purposes to study the runoff pattern and storage capacity to determine the maximum discharge at the site. So basically, engineering surveys are used to how much water can be stored in that particular area. That volume can be calculated by using contour maps. So, and the locations for the particular sites and dam locations can be chosen by engineering surveys. And this is done by the levels. Nowadays advanced instruments are there, that is total station, GPS. So it can be easily done with the help of these. Even sometimes that photogrammetric surveys and all those things can be used for this particular surveying. In geological investigation, what type of strata is available, then what is the pattern? You might have heard the dikes, seals, etc. Those things are there. Whether cracks are there, faults are there, folds are there. Those things we need to study while doing or constructing any reservoir. And this hydrological investigation, it is we get this data from the rainfall data, even some rain gauges, and some this flow measuring instruments have been placed at various locations. And from that we'll get the runoff pattern and the storage capacity. Obviously we are getting for the from the this particular contouring itself. uh, so maximum discharge can be determined by using this flow regulators or flow measurement devices rather.